各位好，欢迎收看凤凰卫视美洲台为您带来的天天话题。听到陈李琬若这个名字，不少人可能并不陌生。她没有显赫的背景，却成为了美国历史上第一位华裔女市长，先后出任福特、卡特、克林顿3任总统的政府高级顾问，还曾被总统克林顿褒奖为具有东方文化教养的美国政坛魅力女神。她的创举为不止美国华裔，还有所有族裔的女性打开了全新的大门。作为来美的第一代移民，她又经历了怎样的人生故事呢？
As the first Chinese American woman to serve as mayor,
Lily Li Chen.
I was born in Tianjin, China. Because of the Civil War, we took the very last boat, leaving Tianjin to Taiwan.
She gave Grandpa and Grandma bundles of joy, even though she knew in her heart that they really wanted a boy.
She was the middle of 3 daughters. Her mother was a failure in that she had only daughters. There was no son to carry on the family name.
My mother used to tell my father, Lily is going to be the son. Lily is going to make you proud. Lily is going to deliver. She was right. I was determined. I want to prove to my father I can be somebody.
Her father was a senator in Taiwan, so he was very prominent. He would give speeches. So he actually was a role model in a sense for my mother and mentored her in speech.
She traveled around Taiwan making prize-winning speeches, attaining success far beyond anyone's reaches.
She won many speech contests, and that's ultimately led her to become a student ambassador on a group visit to the United States.
I first came to America, to Honolulu, Hawaii, was to attend the International Youth Leaders Conference. It was a great experience.
She was pretty amazed by what the U.S. had to offer, the kindness of the people welcoming her, and John F. Kennedy and a lot of the things he was trying to envision. This actually was a big inspiration for her in wanting to stay in the United States.
In 1958, I returned to America, wanting to be an immigrant American under the Kennedy-Johnson's administration.
She studied at San Francisco State, met my father. He was in graduate school in engineering at UC Berkeley. They were introduced by friends at a Chinese restaurant.
In talking to each other, they realized that they were both on the same boat, kind of like fate, that they ended up together.
I was too young to believe in fate, but I got to know Paul. We were deeply in love with each other very quickly.
They're polar opposites. My mother is gregarious, outgoing, extrovert, passionate. My father was calm, steady, detail-oriented, and patient as can be.
One time she told my dad, "Oh, I have to go get something. Can you wait for me for a second?" And he must have waited for like 2 or 3 hours, just incredibly patient. And she was telling me, "Oh, that's a good sign," because he had the patience to be there for me, even though it was really a difficult thing for him to go do.
It was a time when they were both very low on cash. And wouldn't you know it, on their drive up north, they had a terrible automobile crash.
They drove, I think in Portland, they were driving up, getting ready for his first job, and the car flipped over on the side of the road. My dad broke his neck, and at that time, he didn't have a job yet. Mom decided it was time to get married fast, even though Dad would be showing up to the wedding in a full neck cast.
We went to the local court. All these other people were laughing. They said, why they want to be married in a hurry like this? But they didn't realize what is happening to an immigrant person without a home. We have no other choice. If I marry him, he will have a home.
My mom had to work 3 jobs in order to pay the hospital bills to fix his broken neck, plus having me and my sister. The amount of hardship that they experienced, I do recall that vividly.
It was in Los Angeles the Chens decided to start a new life. And Mom, in those days, it felt it wasn't enough just to be a wife.
My mother was a medical social worker initially, working in a hospital. She later transferred to LA County in the Department of Children's Services, became an administrator. When I was around high school, she actually was appointed to White House Committee on Adult Education and also to the White House Conference on Families.
For the past 27 years, I worked for the Los Angeles County. I learned how the government worked. Then I found the problems. There were many rules and regulations I really did not feel was practical. Many other regulations I felt that need change. I was in no position to changing them. So that was one of the reasons I decided that I would run for city council. I am going to make the law.
The first foray into politics was actually running for city council in Monterey Park in the late 70s. We did have some family discussions. I remember even as a teenager, both of my sister and I said, "Oh, go for it." My dad, he embraced it completely also.
My father was unusual for an Asian man. He believed in supporting her in her endeavors, her wishes, her dreams, and her beliefs. When she decided to run for mayor, he actually left his job for a year to commit to supporting her and to actually working on the campaign.
He never enjoyed politics, but he wanted to work for me, for the community, because that was my interest.
We were 100% in, all in on her pursuing her dream, and actually it was a family affair. I actually went door to door with her. We have a lot of fundraisers or banquets just to sit there and kind of observe the presence that my mom Lily had in the room when she was to be able to speak to her supporters and the energy that they got. Really powerful.
My most interesting experience was candidate night. For the first time, I had the opportunity to speak to a general public. As soon as the meeting was over, I had so many people, young and old, flock to me. They said, "Mrs. Chen, we didn't realize you have so much concern about the problems of the city. You're not a stranger. You are one of our own. Can I volunteer to help you?"
She got so much support from the community. It was just incredible. Her ability to articulate what she wanted, her vision, her strategy, blending of cultures, and really representing the entire community. Just a combination of all those different things. Those were powerful.
On June the 3rd, 1981, when the result was published, I lost the election by 28 votes.
So it was incredibly close. And it was her first time running.
I wrote a letter to the editor. I said that I feel like a winner. I was very grateful to receive so much support. Not only I rejected the recount, but also I went to the city council, congratulated him.
We were empowered, emboldened by the result, and that just made the next campaign to run much more strong.
When I tried again in 1982, I had this overwhelming support because they said Lily deserved a chance.
In 1983, the year Lily Chen became mayor of Monterey Park.
Can you imagine how ecstatic we were to find out that she got the highest vote count in the history of the city?
It was a first for the country, the first Chinese-American female mayor in the United States.
The election signifies many things. It symbolizes the fact that the glass ceiling, particularly for Asian American politicians, has been broken.
She was a trailblazer, what can you say?
I have to say, I have experienced the best and the worst.
In 1982, one of the new members of CACA, the Chinese American Citizens Alliance, was Lily Lee Chen. We learned immediately that she was involved in some new controversies in Monterey Park because of the growing Chinese population there.
Monterey Park at that time was a third Asian American, a third Hispanic, and a third white.
But there was definite prejudice against people from Asia that came over. When I was growing up in the 80s, I was considered an ABC, which is American-born Chinese. And then there was folks that immigrated, they were called FOBs, fresh off the boat.
The reason I did not want to recount was because during the campaign, I have already experienced the resentment from the old-timers. When I walked door to door, the minute people saw my face, they closed the door. They did not like to see me. They did not like to see an Asian face. And I already know about their resentment.
My husband and I moved to Monterey Park in 1971. And just one day it seemed like downtown Monterey Park was full of Chinese signs that we couldn't read at all. The rest of us felt like, you no longer live here. This is no longer your city. And it was people very upset. So my husband and I, we worked on a petition with several other people.
When Frank Curry presented the English-only proposal, the first thing he said to me, "We are tired of you people taking over our city." At the end of his presentation, he threw U.S. Constitution to my face.
No, he was mad, you know. Hey, this is our country too.
People going around threatening people. They did graffiti on the theaters saying Asians go home.
A gas station had a sign that said, "For the last American to leave Monterey Park, please bring our flag."
It was so insulting. The target was toward me.
I felt sorry for poor Lily because she's always was in between. She advocated for everybody in the community, and that made her sometimes a target for everybody.
Because of this sentiment, the first thing I did when I took office as the mayor, I applied to All American City through USA Today. I was hoping the newcomers would feel the pride. I hope that the old-timers will say, yes, give them a chance. It takes time for them to assimilate to become full-fledged Americans. The difference is only you came here earlier than the rest of us.
Lily tried very hard to be a good council member. I have to say that. I didn't always agree with her, but I said some of the decisions were not easy to make.
When President Carter appointed me to serve as his advisor for adult education, the first opportunity I got was to recommend that ESL program had to be implemented throughout the nation for free. Our federal government should pay for it. How can you blame the new immigrant not speaking English, not participating in the mainstream American society, without helping them to learn English?
When she was mayor, she became a target of some hatred. The anti-immigrants, the overt discrimination really picked up in Monterey Park. I want to say what Lily did. She stood firm. She sent out a message that said plainly, I am a proud American. We immigrants are proud Americans. We will not leave the city, and we will raise the American flag because we love the flag and what it stands for, liberty and justice for all and freedom for all, no matter where you come from, even if you have an accent. This is America for all, justice for all. That's what Lily stood for. Thank you, Lily.
She carried on her our basic mission of serving minorities and the underprivileged.
On the Monterey Park City Council, she focused on making things better for the residents of the city. She worked to close a local landfill. She sought funds for the expansion of an elementary school. She successfully lobbied to have Monterey Park host the Olympics field hockey games.
She started the Chinese Political Action Committee, CPAC, one of the first political organizing committees to give voice to Asian Americans.
She served on the Democratic National Committee. She also ran for Congress. I know she wasn't successful, but I know she gave it her all. And whenever she got involved in anything, she really put her heart into it.
Lily was founding member of a number of prominent Asian American organizations providing critical services to the Asian American community.
She partnered deeply with people of different backgrounds.
Many people after her have been encouraged to run for office and to take on leadership roles.
The first Chinese American, the first Asian American, the first woman, but always working to be the mentor, the teacher, the enabler, working hard to make sure that although she was the first, she would certainly not be the last. Thank you, Lily Lee Chen.
回想在美从政的坎坷经历，陈李琬若颇有感慨地说：“华人参政，万事起头难。那时候的我们开路太辛苦了。”在美从政40余年，陈李琬若的人生历程为太多的华人树立了榜样，鼓励了更多华人的从政信心。但他却一直很谦虚，也依然没有停止奋斗的脚步。感谢您收看本期节目，我们下期再见。